Welcome to Six Pack Discussions, where Cody and Jared take on the biggest, most talked about headlines with logic, passion, and a six pack of beer.
If you're listening, we challenge you to take an unbiased view of the world, because we know these conversations are complicated. So sit down, crack a beer, and welcome a new perspective. Okay, Jared Jones, dude, back at it. We are recording a interesting episode. You actually pulled it to the top of the list.
I did. This is, again, I think I teased it a little bit last episode.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about tipping. Tipping's one of those where it's not often talked about how uncomfortable it makes people, but given the sheer rise in popularity as far as all the different venues that you can now are almost expected to tip.
Yeah.
No.
It's
a little awkward.
Yeah, tipping's weird, and it's a very American thing. I was looking across
North
the
American
world.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Canada too.
Yeah, I saw that. But let's just say Canada's like our little brother, right?
They are.
Yeah,
It's a America thing.
Shout out to our Canadian listeners.
Yeah. Started in Europe.
Yep. They
Hold on.
canceled that shit.
Pause.
Oh, what beer are we drinking? What beer are we drinking?
So today we're actually going to be drinking the Lagunitas A little something something. So give us about 15 or so minutes and tell you a little background story and give a rating.
Yeah. Started in Europe, like you said.
Yep.
And came here, got kind of canceled in Europe.
It did? Yep.
They kind of said, what are we doing here? I think it went illegal. It was almost illegal here.
Well, I didn't see that. I did see that, but I didn't see that it was illegal in Europe. I did see that it was illegal here.
Yeah, in a lot of states.
Well, let's talk about the roots of tipping in America.
So yeah, so I actually wrote down two different stories of the origins of tipping.
Okay, it's funny. I think I'm about to go too.
Okay.
So one, it was kind of the people, I believe in the 1800s, 1850s, 1860s, if I remember.
Okay.
And it was essentially, they would travel, of course, to Europe to where tipping was fairly prevalent. So they came back over here, and to show that they were wealthier than thou, and I've clearly traveled the world, and you peasants don't understand that this is normal to tip.
Yeah.
And then I heard the dark side. And I'm assuming that's the other origin? Slavery?
You can go through that one if you don't mind.
Okay.
I have one more.
Oh, okay. So there's three origins.
Well, I think this traveler one, I think that kind of was accentuated by the slavery, or by the removal of slavery, because it was really after Amendment 13, like 19 Lincoln era, right? So after the Civil War, those European travelers, there was more and more kind of like, okay, now we don't have slavery here, but a lot of individuals were going into the service industry that were slaves.
That was the main, because it was essentially an excuse to pay them an incredibly low wage, if not free, and then they would essentially have to earn their living, and that was extenuation.
Yeah,
of
I'm going to call that story number 2. Like that whole kind of like, I feel like all those events kind of lined up perfectly.
Okay, I just saw them as I was almost separated because it was the Americans that were traveling to Europe and brought that back over. But yeah. I can see the parallel.
Yeah. So the other story I read, and some people say this is a myth. I actually always thought this is where tipping came from. This is where I that
it was an acronym.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's an acronym still, but what people say it's called to ensure promptness. And the reason I heard about this is because I heard it was about a coffee house in England or Italy where you would pay additional money when you walked up to the barista or the person making coffee.
Whatever. And
you would say, hey, put $1 in the jar. And they would essentially serve you first. So, let's say there was 20 people in line.
I've heard that story.
And you put the $1 in the jar, and essentially you would say, all of a sudden the next drink would be yours all of a sudden. And so when I've always thought that made sense too, because and we'll get into our kind of our opinions, but tipping's kind of odd because you tip after the service has already been performed. And so you can change the dollar amount, but I would tip a lot more for expedited service if it was in the beginning. And I do that all the time at bars. I don't know, do you ever over tip for your first drink?
Hell yeah.
Why?
Because they're going to remember me.
To ensure promptness for your next drink. Right?
Yeah, my beer will never go.
Exactly. So I'll give a $20 tip cash for my first drink. $20 for one drink, which is crazy. But then I'll be like, hey, man, that'll cover you for the night. And I make sure I say that to him. And then guess what? That guy comes to me and he's like, damn, that guy actually. And then you'll end up, I drink 3 or 4, giving another $3-4, right? But the idea there is that I'm going to get guaranteed service when I walk up to the bar. And I think that makes sense. And so it's funny because they said it was a myth because there's a lot of like this coffee shop did exist. 1688. It was a lot of captains of like ships that were traveling between America and England. And there was a container there. They stated that said to ensure promptness that you could put money in. What do you think about that? Do you think it's maybe all fake? That's a fake one? Or maybe it was...
I'm
What do you think?
It's an interesting story. I don't know. I mean, I think you're a fool if you don't think that, you know, if I'm putting myself as a bartender here and someone slips me a 20 on my first drink, I bet you I'm going to remember that NASA shirt. Right.
Yeah.
So
like I would do that. If
I believe that, but I actually think the irrefutable origins are pretty sad. You know, the origins in racism.
For the second story.
Yeah. That's pretty bad.
It is bad. And I think it was Pullman.
Yeah, Pullman.
Pullman. That's it. So
with the railroad.
And that makes sense to me too. Like he had the railroad, luxury cars where you would be served food in them. And the porters, they were called porters, but really it was like a waiter or a waitress. It would be a post-slavery, so a black or, I guess a black man or female that would be serving food. And in most cases, they would be, making, I think, $12 a month, $11 a month, which was about half or a third of what the kind of general wage was for that job. Because he stated that you could make tips. And it's kind of funny because that amount is pretty dang close to the current federal wage.
$2.15, $2.13?
Exactly, which federal minimum wage, I think, is like $7.
$7.50, yeah.
About a quarter, right? Pretty dang close.
Yeah, not far.
And so it has this kind of ugly history of the slavery stuff. I don't know if there's anything else you want to cover on that story.
No, that was really it. I just wanted to illustrate, the interesting shift that we've done in 100 years to where now people are essentially have no problem touting how much they need tips, to where now in the beginning, it was kind of, I wouldn't say shameful, but yeah, maybe looked down upon to have to tip someone, right?
Yeah, and I also read, I don't know if you saw this, but a lot of Americans, when those wealthy individuals that were traveling to Europe, when they came back and they're like, oh, here's a dollar. People would look and say, I don't need your money. Even if I was on the lower income brackets, even though I was, it felt very shameful to even take that extra money because it felt like a, what's that called? It felt like you
charity.
were begging.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like charity.
Yeah, what do they call it? Your palm is itching.
Is that? I never heard
I heard that. Yeah, I read that. Guys, sorry, I don't know why. I just got this cough.
Have you ever worked a tipping job?
Well, it's interesting. So, as you know, I worked at Little Caesars.
Oh, yeah.
And we had a tip jar in front of us.
And but that's kind of weird because you kind of like split it like exactly equal. Mm-hmm. Real quick, a little aside, just a quick opinion. What's your thoughts on the split tip thing, or everybody gets what they make tip? Like, let's say there's 3 bartenders manning a bar. Mm-hmm. I think general practice nowadays is that they put all the money into a jar and they split it 3 ways.
I'm going to give you one guess on where I stand with that.
I'm guessing
if you have to finish that question, our friendship is over.
Okay. So I'm guessing Jared is on the same page as me, where I think that if you earn it, you keep it.
This is America, right?
Yeah. Isn't it odd? Because I think when we grew up, that was how most waitresses and bartenders worked. And somehow there's like this kind of commune system. And do you think that reduced service levels?
So it's actually really interesting because I feel like everyone is still blaming COVID for lack of prompt service and lack of, just general customer well-being, caring, right?
Like there's not many people in the workforce to like answer your phone call.
Serve you well at a restaurant, at a bar, etc. Everyone's bitching about that, right? And maybe it is because of this, to use your word, is unfortunately it's a little harsh, but not too far off, this commune agenda, essentially, as far as everyone just pulling it all together to where it naturally just reduces. I was like, well, if I just kill it, and let's say I produce $400 to the tip jar, but Billy only produces $100, we each walk away with what, $250?
Yeah. And the funny thing is like the guy that kills it, Billy. You've been part of many group projects, probably.
Mm-hmm. There's always got to be someone that does the title and the agenda slide.
Jared's highlighting. He's the perfect problem in this situation that I was about to highlight. So let's say you're in a group project for college or high school. 4, 5, 6 people normally, right? You usually have somebody that ends up doing most of the work,
mm-hmm.
and then 3 people that do nothing,
mm-hmm.
and then some people that try to fill in the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you get a B for the project.
Everybody gets a B.
Exactly. Everybody's going to get a B. Now, if everybody tried a little harder, we would all got an A. But we're kind of like having to pull those anchors out. And I'm just thinking like the whole commune tipping system. I just want to get your opinion on that. I didn't go into too much of that, but it sounds like you are against the commune. Like, hey, you know what? Work for your tips. Because, man, I bet you some bartenders could just clean house.
So you know what I find like wild to me is the frequency in times I'm prompted for a tip. And it's really that you can see a direct correlation to the rise in technology and the tips. And what I mean by that is like the point of sale softwares.
Oh yeah.
That little awkward iPad that they spin around, and then you have to look that person in the eye and essentially say, nope. Like it's uncomfortable as hell.
Yeah, no, I totally wanted to get into that because
Ubers.
In the last year,
yes.
Remember when Uber came out? They didn't have a tipping.
Mm-mm.
And that was why you did it. Because taxi guys, you tipped. You always gave them a little cash. Uber came out and like, you don't need to tip your driver. And they did it for like 3-4 years. And then all of a sudden, they send you like that little thing after you leave. Would you like to tip your driver? Do you tip the Uber driver?
Never.
Me neither.
Never. Hell, Jimmy John's, Chipotle.
I do anybody that delivers food.
No. Not delivery.
Oh.
You're there.
Yeah. That's
now delivering food, that's...
I give them a lot.
Should.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah. Especially if they're there earlier than I was expecting. I'm like, dude, this guy was hustling.
So let's talk about...
all the places you can tip.
Well, yeah, but it's almost like, why are we making concessions about delivery drivers?
Oh, why it's okay to tip them?
Why do you tip delivery drivers, but you don't tip whenever you pick up a pizza or whenever you pick up Chipotle?
Yeah. This feels like I'm going to get in my opinion real hard and fast here, buddy.
Oh, okay.
I think can you save that question for our second beer?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So something that I found odd. I mentioned this, but a lot of states, they abolished the ability to do the tipping thing. So like Georgia, they essentially said, hey, these are commercial bribes. Did you see that at all? So they actually made it illegal to tip anybody because it was essentially a bribe to get different types of service. Kind of interesting, huh?
That is interesting. Why do you think it's okay for other people to, I guess, directly pay your overhead?
You mean like a restaurant owner?
Yeah, I mean, that's quite literally what you're doing.
It's weird, and I wanted to I did a little bit of research on this, but in general, if you were going to pay, most people that are getting tipped are not getting, their wages are above minimum wage. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I were the employer and I was paying them, I would pay them minimum wage. Unless they were, outstanding or whatever it may be. But let's say I hire them, I'm hiring them at minimum wage. That person's actually going to earn more money on the tipping system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So it's actually better for the employee, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I mean, in our current culture, yeah.
And it's also better for the consumer because I get a low price food item and I voluntarily give the tip.
Right. So I agree with you, but
it's like charity almost instead of like taxes. You're not going to arrest me.
No.
If I don't give a tip. But you will arrest me if I walk out of the restaurant and don't pay my bill.
I see your point there.
it's kind of like it's optional. And in general, most people are doing it voluntarily. And because of the voluntary tipping, donations, charity, whatever, that person makes more money. It kind of works out for all three parties if you think about it. The restaurant owner has less overhead. The consumer
double pays.
Well, no, because they're still going to pay that amount, right? One way or the other. But in one way, there's optional cost. And then the employee seems to make more money. You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, let's say, sorry, tipping is not allowed anymore. The restaurant owner will raise the prices to pay the staff minimum wage. When they raise prices, me as a consumer, I get my bill. It's going to be 20% higher automatically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm required to pay that. I'm not going to tip anymore. The restaurant owner still pay. The restaurant owner is not like it's not going to hurt their margins. They're just going to increase their price point.
Right.
So it's kind of weird. The tipping thing is kind of an odd way for everybody to kind of feel a little bit better and also end up making more money a little bit. At least the employee. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here. What do you think? I could be looking at it incorrectly.
So I see your point there. No, I do see your point. But I guess, so I'm thinking about it from like a bar standpoint.
Okay.
So this 6-pack cost me $10.
Mm-hmm.
So just doing some rough cowboy math, it's probably like $1.75 for a beer.
Yeah.
Like per 12-ounce can. When's the last time for an IPA that you've paid less than
$10 a beer?
I was going to go 6, but 5, 6, 10, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm getting annoyed because everyone's talking about, and I get the margin on food because of waste. I've heard that's a bitch. But it's like, you're not getting much more expensive. So why are you not paying that guy a little bit more? And now you're expecting me, because now I'm not paying $10 for beer. Now I have to pay $12 a beer because of my 20% tip.
How much is that couch that you're sitting on? How much is that couch that you're sitting on? How much is that light running? How much is my air conditioning running? So when you pay $8 for an IPA, you're not paying for the beer. You're paying for the beer and everything around you to enjoy the bar, right? Like people go to bars for the experience, not just the drink. Otherwise, you would just go buy a 6-pack and go home.
Good point.
Right? And so when you pay that $6 a drink, the idea is that you're there for
the ambiance,
meeting new people, enjoyable space, things like that. And so I think that's why that's there. Now, those things all are what? Expensive, right? Especially nowadays bars. Like you go to like a bar and I look at them like, unless it's like a dive bar, it's like fancy.
Yeah.
Most of these bars are getting kind of fancy and it looks expensive to operate. So that's where I think the $6 is going, or the $7 a drink. You know, you probably are paying $2 for the drink. You know, they are. And then you're paying $4 for all the ambiance stuff.
I guess I can appreciate the pushback there.
Okay. Again, I get it, but you see a lot of people go to a bar and they can go down to a grocery store, buy drinks all day long. So there must be a value there.
Fair point.
Something I want. Why does this only exist here? So Canada and US.
Is it?
It's weird, right?
So it's weird because we keep on coming back to restaurants and bars. And I don't think that's where our listener, or I know that's not where, and now I'm on my second beer, so I'm allowed to say my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Damn.
You've been babysitting the last couple episodes, man. I'm disappointed in you.
We're just hitting 20 minutes and we bullshitted for 4. So I'm at like 16 minutes in. I'm right on pace. You're trying to rush me here.
No. So, and the person who had actually recommended that we bump this episode up, and then of course my frustration personally, it's not just at restaurant and bars. It is literally at picking up a damn to-go order at a restaurant. It is trying to order a Jimmy John sub or picking up Chipotle. I mean,
so that's all new.
Uber drivers. It's like, what the?
Okay, so I want to.
What does this stop?
I wanted to get into that. So let's start drawing some lines on where tipping has changed. When we were younger, I'm sure your parents and you went on a vacation somewhere and you stayed at a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember a baggage person moving your bags and your dad or your stepdad slipping them $1 or a couple bucks?
Yep.
You remember that, right?
Yep.
Have you ever done that personally?
I have not.
Me neither. Did you even feel like that's even something that anybody in our generation has ever done?
Probably not.
Okay. So that guy, the doorman at a hotel, the baggage guy, getting your luggage out of your car, who used to get tips, they're not getting tips anymore. Right? Are you agreeable?
Yeah, I think it's declined.
Okay. What other spaces? Because I feel like there used to be an elevator guy, believe it or not. This was a common job where there'd be a guy in the elevator that would actually go up and down for you, hit the button. I don't think it technically was a button. It was like a lever, but still, that guy would get tips. So there was a lot of actually weird jobs that we don't tip anymore as a consumer. The job that has continued to be tipped, waitresses, bartenders in our world.
And delivery boys.
And delivery guys, all right? Pizza delivery guys, food delivery guys. So those three were kind of, when we were younger, we were doing that. They're still here. Everything else has been phased out, and what's been phased in seems to be, to your point, and where I think a lot of the frustration is lately, everywhere else that serves food, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go to Chipotle now. Chipotle, they make a burrito. They got 4 people there. They're all getting paid pretty good. I think it's like $12, $13 an hour.
Hell,
I think it's $15 an hour.
Starbucks.
They're on my list here. So coffee shops, right?
They even pay for your damn college to go to Starbucks. No, now you got a tip. Holy shit.
I'm sorry, I couldn't even finish that. I was laughing already because I'm thinking, So I go to Starbucks the other day, and Anna likes going to Black Rock, which is another like coffee shop place. No. They have like an iPad they actually hand you, like in the drive-thru, and that's uncomfortable. Like you got a sign, and
confirm the amount is what they always say.
Uh-huh. It got. What do you think? Do you think COVID, 2020 and beyond, all of a sudden they all got aggressive? I feel like it's in the last 2 or 3 years.
Well, actually, in Q4 of 21, they actually saw a 25% increase in tips. And what they think is that the common, and this is like the etiquette articles I was reading, is it was like a common sentiment around Americans saying, hey, we have to tip these guys because obviously they saw a decrease in traffic. And
frontline workers or frontline heroes. There was a word they were using for a little while.
Essential workers.
Essential workers, I'm sorry. That's interesting because I don't...
25% increase is what I saw.
I've never seen anybody tip their grocery person, their grocery clerk. I would say that person's probably doing more work than a coffee person. Who do you think's doing more work?
Well, yeah, I mean, think about it, bringing up all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Bagging it all?
Towards heck, I think you get a nitro cold brew, mm-hmm. right? That's sort of just putting your arm out, picking it out.
Black. Don't put anything in it. No, I get it. Maybe you're making some complicated ass drink, and I see the Starbucks people, and they're like sweating over there because they're like making some crazy drink, and you ask for like 2 of them because you suck at it, and you like, not the barista sucks at it, but you suck at ordering it. You don't say it properly. You get it. You're like, oh, this doesn't taste right. Now they got to make another one.
Right.
Yeah. The barista thing's interesting because I feel like it's funny because story number 1 is where it all started. Coffee shop. At least, let's say if that's real.
Yeah.
It started at coffee shops tipping. So it kind of went full circle at this point in time. How about this? I wanted to get into this second beer. If you went to a coffee shop, if there was a jar that you put money in and all of a sudden they would just say, oh, hey, Jared, you can skip the line. Would you tip more?
Hell yeah. Because I'm paying for an extra service. I'm not paying for you to do your job. I'm paying to skip the line. It's no different than whenever you go to Six Flags and you buy the Fast Pass. You get to skip the line.
It's funny. You thought about that. I was thinking Disneyland or the Fast Pass thing too. I was like, people are all right with paying for expedited things sometimes. Like on a Saturday morning, I go to Starbucks. Guess what? I'm not putting money in that jar. I'm late to work. I'm putting money in that jar. I'll put more money than I normally would. That could be a $10 coffee. $4 or $3, whatever the coffee amount is, I'll put $5 in to get to the front of the line. See, that's where I think I'm all right with tipping for extra service.
Yeah, but that foundational, just you doing your job.
So a server at a restaurant, you tip them because it's nice.
Yes.
15% probably.
Well, the problem is actually because we actually have talked about this prior to our listener bringing this up because you were at a client dinner and the service was less than good, like borderline laughable.
Yeah.
And I believe it was your buddy or someone picked up the tab and still gave him 20%.
Yeah. And I was like, see, I even said, I think they deserve $0. Like they gave me negative service, right? They made our experience negative from going there. Any other restaurant would have been better. Chipotle at that point because the service was so bad. Yet they still got 20%. And on that tab, that was $100 or more.
Yeah.
Right? It was a large tab. And so I look at that, I'm like, because right now the numbers are kind of weird. I don't know. Have you noticed that restaurants, they've evolved? It's not 15. 15 is not an option on little tickets.
18 is the lowest.
18, 20, 22, 5, or 25. I've seen 30 now.
I have seen 20, 25, 30 as the options.
30 is so much money.
Yeah.
30% extra. Okay, how about this? Let me ask you a question. What do you think the average person feels about tipping and the amount that's appropriate? You go to a restaurant, average tab probably for a restaurant right now for a family of 4 is probably like $60, right? No alcohol.
Okay.
Right? So $60, maybe $75. So, you pay that. What do you think an average family in America is comfortable with paying and tipping? Let's say 7 out of 10 Americans would tip what?
On a $75 tab?
Yeah.
$15.
And that is
90.
What's that percentage?
Oh, 20%.
That's 20%.
Right. 7.5 times 2, 15, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So $15, huh?
So I would say that's pretty standard. Honestly, even though I despise tipping, my floor is 15%. I'll bitch about it. I'll be a cranky little brat about it in the car ride home. But my floor is 15.
My average tipping, our listeners are going to think I'm crazy probably. My average tipping is between 15 and 18.
Yeah.
That's where I'm average at. Like 20. I'll tip. Now, the funny thing is I'll tip way more than 20. Not accidentally. I'll just round up because I'm like, that was fucking great. I don't even do the math. I'm like, dude, you deserve $25. I always tip in cash. Do you tip in cash or do you?
No,
it?
I don't believe in cash.
Okay. Yeah. So
I can't tell you the last time I've had $1 on me.
Okay. I always tip in cash. Like when I see a tab, I write in $65. Right. That's the total. And then I just put my cash in the little thing. Cause I grew up thinking, I guess my parents kind of taught me that like cash is better for tipping people because
it helps them evade taxes a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're aiding a felony.
I'm just saying.
Is that an admission of guilt?
I'm just saying no. I don't know if they're doing that or not. I have no idea.
You're just helping them do that if they choose to do it.
From my understanding, I just don't want the business actually taking their funds through their credit card.
Oh, is that it?
Right? Yeah. But it's funny because if you think about it, if they did evade taxes, I'm giving them way more money, even if I give them 15% in cash.
Yeah. Yeah, you're giving them an extra probably 20%.
Isn't that crazy?
We didn't rate this.
Oh yeah, second beer. Jared, talk about it. You got the little box there, buddy.
Yeah.
It has a story on here too, actually, I think. Is it the same story?
The special IPA?
Yes, it is.
So a little something, something. It is a smooth and silky wheat IPA. This special IPA is its own unique breed. An indescribable...
I don't know what that word is.
Imbibable? What the hell does that mean?
IMBIBABLE. I've never seen 3 B's in a word.
Imbibable.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And our listeners are going to be like, man, you guys are fucking dumb.
You guys drink beer? That's a beer word.
The slight touch of wheat places it somewhere between puffy little clouds and the smoothest silk gown. The taste is rich with hops, but finishes dry. Its mention causes an involuntary reaction. Sumpin is simply pavilion? This taste tells. What the hell is...
I don't
Pavlovian. Oh, Pavlov's Law. What a dumbass.
Oh, because the dog.
Makes you drool. Okay, that was stupid. I fucked that up. Pavlovian.
You know, it's funny.
I've never read that word before in my life. Pavlovian.
Me neither. And I'm looking and I was like, dude, you did not say that right.
I knew I didn't say it right, but I didn't know what was right.
Pavilion. I was like, dude, that is not pavilion. I'm like, that is like Pavlo. I couldn't say it either. Dude.
That's embarrassing. Can't wait for this to go
These
live.
guys broke out the old dictionary to write that. That's a
Yeah, I'm going to discount their damn rating on their beer for making me sound dumb.
That's an aggressive, like...
Pavlovian, that's a really good word to use for like a beverage. I like that.
Okay, define Pavlovian for me. I know what Pavlov's Law is.
Right, because whenever the bell rang, whenever the beer cracks, I start drooling, is what I'm assuming.
Interesting.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I would assume they're trying to get to. Beer cracks of a little something, something, I start drooling.
I would love to use that in like...
Oh, I'm going to try to work that in the next week.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, that's really a Pavlovian effect on me.
Or what we found is that it creates a Pavlovian effect on your buyers.
Ooh, I like it.
Right?
All right.
Dude, 7.5. This is a 7.5.
This is not a weak beer. However, I will tip my hat to the marketing team. I will not tip my hat to the brewmaster. I think this is a forgettable IPA. I think it's fine. I think it's solid. I think it's an honest 3-1. Honest beer. I'm not going to ever turn it down.
It's from Lagunitas in California, by the way. Yeah. I don't know if you said that.
Oh, maybe I didn't.
You think it's a 3.5?
Honest 3-1.
Oh, 3.1.
Honest 3-1. It's a fine beer, but it's forgettable.
It's IPA. It just like this is like a standard IPA. Like if you were to try to say, hey, you know, what does an IPA taste like?
You would hand this beer.
Exactly. Right. I don't like the taste that it puts in the back of my mouth and honestly the roof of my mouth. It's I think it even said there it's a bit bitter. I'm gonna go like a 2.8.
Okay. So I think we're right around straight.
Yeah, a little lower than you. It's not a type of IPA that I would be like, I'm good. I do like the dog on there, but the indescribable, imbibable. They even have it there. Do you see that? Dude, I don't know how to say that word.
Imbibable.
Have you ever seen 3 B's in a word before? That it just doesn't look right. Bibble. I'm sorry, guys. Like this is a very odd word. What does it mean? Jared's looking this up right now for us.
Oh.
Indescribable, maybe?
Not comparable.
There we go. Indescribable. Yeah, that's exactly
able to be imbibed.
You get the? Can you hit the little like?
I'm gonna try to
pronunciation. Imbibe. What?
So imbibable.
Oh, it's the verb of imbibe.
Yep. So our listeners will rightfully call us stupid because we have shitty vocabularies.
You know, I think I saw something the other day about, you know, we got the kiddos and we talk about vocabulary all the time because it's weird. Lillian just, boom, every day, word, new words. And I'm like, holy shit, where did she learn that word from? Right? I'm like, I never have said that word before. You don't realize what word you say. But there's words that I just don't say. Anna's a wordy. I'm not a wordy, right? I'm pretty like, you know, I got probably 5,000 vocabulary words that I use daily. And then I probably have another 5,000 that I use once in a while, right? There's probably 10,000 words. That's weird to think about, right? Because there's probably hundreds of thousands of words that you can use, right? Millions probably in the English language. But let's say hundreds of thousands for normal, general, non-scientific terminology.
Cool.
She said something and I was like, where the fuck did she pick that up? You know, because we don't watch TV. So we had to have said it, or her teacher had to have said it, or another kid in class had to say it. But vocabulary is one of those things where, do you reward people when they use expanded vocabulary, or you discount them?
Discount them. I think you're a dick.
I think so too.
Yeah, I instantly think you're an asshole.
Especially when they use in text format, like email. I will actually, if I type a word and I'm like, you know what, that's a fucking
You
asshole
sound like
word.
an asshole.
Exactly, that's an asshole word. Nope. What's a simpler version of that? I do it all the time. Because, you know, I'm not going to say, like, maybe I have 1,000 words in my vocabulary that are a little, you know, let's say 9th grade level, not 7th grade level. I'm not saying I'm college level vocabulary.
Neither am I.
Right? But I want to make sure that my sentence when I write it, if I do write anything, is like, not like that.
Well,
not like that shit.
Well, who is, oh man, how embarrassing. This is actually really ironic that I'm about to ask this question. I believe it was, I want to say Einstein, but I don't think it was Einstein. Who was it that said,
No, it's him.
You don't understand something until you can explain it to a 4th grader?
Yeah, that's him.
So I think you're an asshole if you just make me, now like I said, there are going to be a lot of listeners that clown us on this, 100%.
Uh-huh.
But
yeah, like that's because we had to look it up. I'd be like, your marketing team's doing a bad job.
Because I mean, I feel like you and I are fairly smart guys.
We probably, like, we kind of figured out what that word meant.
We can use context clues.
Exactly, but you shouldn't have to.
But I thought that was a made up word.
100%. There's 2 words on there that are like stupid.
Pavlovian.
Okay, so
How many people could actually talk about Pavlov's dog?
I don't know, dude.
I'd say less than 25%. Oh, what'd you say?
20%.
I said 25. Okay.
Yeah. 20% probably know what Pavlov's law is.
So I know what that is.
I'm making it a law, but I don't know if that's what really it's called. But
I've always heard Pavlov's dog too.
well, he had a bunch of dogs, but
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, dude. So second beer. We're moving along here. It might be done a little early just because I feel like we already have like some pretty hard opinions on this.
So
stuff.
it's one of those where I'm trying to figure out. So I think you were pretty okay with, you're talking about the overhead of an establishment. Got it. You're talking about how it's truly a win-win-win scenario for the consumer, for the employee, and for the owner. I'm there.
I kind of convinced you there a little bit. Right?
You did actually. But my pain point where I truly think this is stemming is where are you not expected to tip now? Because if you get your nails done, you're expected to tip. If you get your hair done, you're expected to tip. So I've heard. You get a massage, I'm sure you're supposed to tip. If you pick up Chipotle, you're supposed to tip. If you get a pizza delivered, you're supposed to tip. If you get an Uber ride, you're supposed to tip. Where does it stop, I guess, to where you're a cheap ass versus this is just normal customs? Because, dude, I read even etiquette articles, etiquette magazines. And literally the person, I actually appreciated the humility because they said, I even study this and I don't know the amount for what. Because they would concede and say it's different amounts for different acts. I.e., it's okay to tip $1 to the valet.
Do you tip valet?
So here's my problem. I very rarely have cash. So I will ask them, do you have Venmo? And then I'll tip them. And what's annoying is I'll tip more on Venmo.
You got to get cash, dude.
Dude,
what's the problem?
This is my wallet. Company card, personal card, ID. This is the only thing I ever travel with.
Have you never been in a situation where you need cash? Like you want to make a quick bet with somebody?
Venmo. If you don't have Venmo, you're not worthy enough to bet me, in my humble opinion. Do you not remember the Suns game?
Oh, I know, dude.
You and I Venmo'd each other $1.
Because you didn't have cash. Dude, I'm a cash. So I went and got some work done on my Jeep this week.
Okay.
Right. And the guy's kind of a family friend. I'm not looking for any special deals because I don't do that. Right. And I sent him a text. I was like, hey, man, Jeep ready? He's like, dude, come by tomorrow. It was yesterday. Yesterday. It's done on Tuesday. I was like, cool, man. How much? And would you prefer cash? Because I get it. I get how this thing works.
You're assisting them in.
And he just sends me the number because he doesn't want to say he prefers cash. I go grab cash. Because I just go grab cash. I'm like, I would prefer cash. Actually, I don't think I actually would, personally. Because then I have to figure out what to do with that. Do I sometimes have cash just laying around because people pay me in cash? Right? I'm like, I gotta spend this cash. Because what am I gonna do? Go down to the bank, go deposit it? Like, holy shit. And my wife, she was in the service industry. She's used to always having cash.
So actually, let's talk about your wife.
Yeah.
And her business.
Uh-huh.
So let's say she charges $500.
Yep.
Does she get tipped, I guess?
No. She has been tipped for when she does kind of like pro bono type stuff. Pro bono.
Okay, that's not a tip. That is literally just paying a severely discounted rate.
Yeah. Well, they end up paying the real rate with their tip because it's usually that much. Okay. Right. But she's doing it because it's like, there's some reason that she's doing it. Like she just offered her service, right? She's in photography, guys listening. She'll go do it and, she'll be like, hey, I'm doing this because, you've helped me get referrals. So I'm going to help you out. And they're like, well, once they're done, they're like, oh, here's some cash. Right?
Take my money.
Exactly. Take my money. Which I'm fine with. Like, I get that. But again, the tipping's funny because I control it. And there was something that I read about a while back is if I were to go like this, hey, Jared, let's say you pay 20% of your taxes, right? So your income level, you're taxed at 20%. Wow, that sucks, dude. Holy shit. 20% of every single dollar you make goes to the government no matter what. What's it going to? I don't know, Social Security, fucking war machine, Pentagon budget, healthcare, all the stuff that you don't have any care about. If, when you were actually filling out the form on the IRS form, and you were to put a dollar amount to each service or a percentage of your pay, the average American would pay 20% more in taxes if you let them voluntarily choose to pay taxes. So, give you an example. You go through there. You're like, fuck it.
So you mean to tell me if the government operates in a GoFundMe scenario?
Bingo. They make more money.
All of their programs are essentially, hey, our budget's this. Please help me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I get it.
I don't believe that. I don't know how you... I don't deny that you read that source. Yeah. I just don't believe the source.
So this is how you can figure it out. There are charities that do the exact same thing as government agencies, and they make way more money.
Yeah, but that's also because... So, prime example. I was going to Fry's Sunday, Saturday, whatever. And the firefighters were filling the boot.
Oh, yeah.
And it was for some charity. And
you can't participate in any of this shit. You don't have any cash.
I literally asked them, I was like, do you have a Venmo? And they usually do, though. I would say 8 out of 10 times they have a Venmo. Yeah. 8 out of 10 minimum.
Is this a way so you don't have to do the cash thing?
No, I swear to God. Like, I'm actually incredibly generous with these little charities. But it's also because of the size of the organization. I was like, man, they're out here hustling.
Yeah.
Boots on the ground. It's hotter than you. I always do.
Yeah.
When I have cash, I will 100% do that. And then I always ask them if I have Venmo. 100%. If they have Venmo, I'm sorry. But anyways, I am more apt to do that. But the government, I see them just piss it away on sending billions of dollars to another country.
Yeah.
Sending billions more. It's like, well...
So they actually did this. Like, it was legitimately, like, they actually, I think it was maybe California. They handed out IRS forms, the 1040 forms, where they're like, hey, you don't have to pay any taxes. Here's the percentages that you can give, right? And people gave way more money. Legitimately, right?
So you're using California and its infinite wisdom as your backbone of your argument?
Okay, maybe it wasn't California. Maybe it was Florida. I don't know who it was. But I just know that when people have the ability to choose where their money goes, they give more, just like what you did. You went into the store, you're like, I didn't want to give money today to the fire department for whatever thing they did, But they said, hey, we're collecting money because we had 3 guys unfortunately pass away. Their families are looking for funds to pay for, whatever they're,
Don't care.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, yeah, like that could have been my house that was on fire that these guys sacrificed their lives for. Thank you. Here you go. And people like giving money away if they have it.
I would agree with that.
Right? People enjoy it. They make it feels like a little hole.
Hell yeah.
So tipping, I think, is kind of interesting because I like tipping when they do a good job. So getting back to the tipping, we really went off a tangent. I'm sorry. But I like tipping. Like a bartender, I love tipping a bartender. I love it. Now, if they take a long time, I hate it. Like there's like this curve that just like, how long do I have to wait until I'm going to give them $1, not $5 for one drink, right? Especially if I'm going out later into the night, I'm going to give a lot more money. Not because I'm like drinking more, but because I'm just like...
that is no contribute.
It does, but it's just like, hey, I went somewhere and the drink was, and this is, the smart bars do this. They make a drink close to the next denomination, right? I don't know if you noticed this ever. $7, I'm giving it a $10 bill or 2 5s.
Oh, I think you're talking about like the naming of it. I was like, what?
No. Like they'll do a $7 drink. I'm giving them $3 tip. I don't want. Here's my money. Here's 2 5s. Bye bye. You got $3 tip. Right? Oh, your drink is $16. Here's a 20.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone. Right? It's one of those sayings that smart bars do that. You can tell, especially clubby type places.
So let's get back to the actual tipping, because again, it's not bars that I have a problem with. It's not restaurants that I have a problem with. You convinced me there. I'm good there.
Okay.
It's all these bullshit industries. Where is the difference? Where's the line of you doing your job?
Oh yeah, I got a good idea for this.
Versus you are deserving of a tip.
So this is where I would draw a line. Tell me if I'm wrong here. The service or the product that I'm receiving, can it be different? So when I go to Chipotle, when I go to Starbucks, and they make a drink or a burrito, when I get my burrito, the amount of time that it takes, are you tracking that as a company? Because I guarantee Chipotle is. Guarantee Starbucks is. They're tracking how much time it makes it and also how often it varies from the median. They want that drink to taste 9 times out of 10 the exact same, whether you're in New York, Florida, Arizona.
I mean, that's literally the story of how McDonald's scaled.
Bingo.
Was its consistency.
Bingo. So you look, if a place is looking for a consistent experience or product delivery, you can't tip. There should not be. You cannot. There should be no tipping. Because
you throw off the consistency.
Bingo. Tipping is meant to do what?
Differentiate.
Bingo.
TIP.
Bingo. And so if there's any industries out there that are asking for tips but are providing a consistent experience or an experience that is predetermined.
So that's what I don't understand is how you are just willy-nilly commoditizing different entities.
Me?
Yeah, and I'm assuming this is your opinion, right? On you can't tip on consistency.
Yeah, no, I just don't. How can you?
Well, they do.
I'm saying, why is that even allowed?
Well, again, so you're commoditizing labor.
Me?
Yeah. Why can't I tip Billy at Starbucks who memorized my order to where I don't even have to say anything? How nice is it whenever you walk into a bar and you sit down and your Michelob Ultra is right in front of you?
Okay, so you're saying, hey, if I walk into a Starbucks or a Chipotle and they have my item memorized, I'm all right with giving them a tip directly.
So
I'm all right with that. Now, that was differentiated service.
Again,
Have you ever walked into a Chipotle and they memorized? Because I've never had that happen.
I don't go there that often, so no.
Okay.
But I guarantee there are some Chipotle-ites out there.
Dude, I'm a Chipotle-ite.
How often do you eat it a week? Exactly.
No. I was at one point. At one point, right when I was at ASU,
Oh.
I probably went to Chipotle 5 times a week.
Holy shit. Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Always
5
order the
times.
same thing?
Always. Exact same thing.
Oh. Okay.
And guess what? They're not that. It's not like that type of service there, right? The guy that makes the tortilla is sometimes at the tomato spot. The guy that the gal that does the cooking sometimes is in the meat spot, right? They rotate their staff. That's kind of like their thing. The funny thing is just Starbucks, because I think I'm not like a Starbucks connoisseur. Right, like I go there, once in a while, whenever. And Anna hates Starbucks; she's not a Starbucks fan, so I don't go there often. Like I go there if I'm at a grocery store and she asks for coffee, and she wants me to go somewhere else. I'm like, fuck that! I'm not going to 2 spots. Like, come on now. And then she's really displeased when I get home and I have a Starbucks cup instead of a Black Rock coffee. Like she hates it that much. Like comparable.
Taste or values?
The taste.
Okay.
She thinks it's all like burnty.
That's what's made it famous.
Yeah, exactly. Funny, right? But like, if they knew, but the problem is Anna changes her order every 3-4 months. I think a lot of Starbucks people kind of change their orders.
I didn't know
I
that,
would pay though.
But it's just one of those things where whenever you're saying you can't, for consistency purposes, and while I understand the point you were trying to make, I don't ever like commoditizing shit. That's just so anti-American to me. It's so lame.
McDonald's, super American, the most commoditized.
Yeah, that sucks. I don't go there for other reasons, granted, but
yeah, but
I like supporting the differentiation.
Okay, how about this? When I travel, when I land, I normally land late at night.
Yep.
Right? I just land. I go to East Coast. I normally take a midday flight, early morning flight, but you lose 3 hours.
Sucks. Dude, going to the East Coast is the worst thing in the world.
Okay. I land, and I'm hungry. Guess where I'm going? Chipotle. You know why?
Because you're getting the same damn thing. But so I'm okay with commoditizing the product, not the people.
I don't go there to get an experience. I'm going there.
Why is Chick-fil-A so big? Because of the experience, though. It's a non-commoditized experience. Anyways, I think we got off on an unnecessary tangent there.
That's what we're supposed to do, man. We're drinking.
I know, especially third beer, so we're allowed tangents here. But anyways, I'm trying. I want a fucking line in the sand. When is it okay and when is it not okay to tip?
I told you.
But I just poked a hole into it.
I think
if someone delivers a superior experience at that Starbucks and they memorize your drink, give them $5.
I think that is an unexpected experience and a commodity thing. I'm all right with giving them $5.
So you're okay. So your line in the sand is when it's an unexpected experience.
Here you go.
Okay.
I'll give you an example.
So you're incredibly talented at your job. You generate millions of dollars for your business year in and year out for the last 10 years.
Uh-huh.
You ever been tipped by one of your clients?
I was going to actually bring this up. Somebody actually wanted to tip me. Yeah.
Not like a Christmas gift. They wanted to hand you
cash. This was a different job, but I was selling something. And so he was like, hey, you take tips? I was like, dude, I'm not going to take a tip. He's like, dude, this is the best experience I've ever had.
What were you selling?
It was at a gym. I was in college. Gym sales guy. Probably close to, not car salesman level.
Step above.
Fucking close. Close.
Above. I would say car salesmen are the lowest. next to like door-to-door encyclopedia salesman, car salesmen are there.
But gym is close. Like everybody's had a bad experience where a gym sales guy tries to sell memberships they're never going to go to.
endlessly. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was that guy. A guy wanted to tip me. It actually, I think, happened like 2 or 3 times. One guy gave me $40. There you go. I made more in the tip than I made in commissions. Right? Totally cool. But it's funny because I was like, dude, this is awkward because I don't think anyone's ever tipped for a gym membership. Right? Like, that's weird. But he was just super happy, and he was like, man, this is so great. Thank you for helping me out today. You're going to change my life. Right? You're going to change my family's lives.
Okay.
So, there was no tip jar. I'm not going to put a tip jar out. I'm not going to have a little thing that says, here's my tip. That would be absurd. Right? That was an exceptional experience that I was able to provide somebody that they felt like I was going to change what they were doing. And they're like, I got some extra cash. Here you go. I think that's fine. You can tip. It's free. Do whatever you want. But whenever you start requesting it and making people feel uncomfortable for a commodity item, I would say, no way. No, you can't do that. No, stop that. That's like Starbucks. You're asking for a tip, $3 a drink. I just paid $4 a drink. What? Wait, what?
So here's my official stance. I will never mandate anyone to do whatever they do with their money. You do you. If you want to, around Christmas time, around the holidays, if you want to slide your waitress an extra hundo or your mailman, whatever, awesome. Good on you.
Do you know your mailman?
Not even a fucking clue who my mailman is.
I was like, I don't know my
Brittany,
mailman.
with as much shit as she orders, she better know that person by name, but I do not know. That's a little test to see if she listens to this episode.
She probably does.
Oh, it's actually funny. I've already told them myself.
Greg.
Yeah. Gosh, I actually don't want her to know our Amazon delivery driver, but I know she has to. But anyways.
He's actually in your house often.
Anyways.
You going to install this?
Do you want me to install this? I brought the tools.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. I know you painted a really good picture. And honestly, you probably came to as close as anyone that's ever... Actually, no, you did succeed in getting me to understand how it actually can be better. However, we are taking away from the psychological aspect of it to where I am actually annoyed. It is very uncomfortable, and I'm okay with confrontation, guys.
Oh, yeah.
It is uncomfortable for me to look a person in the eyes and you're literally asking me for money and I am clicking saying, fuck you, basically. That's awkward.
Like you did a bad job. But you didn't.
No, you did your job, though.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You took my bagel order. I appreciate it. Can I have it now? Like, it's uncomfortable. So here's where my official stance is. Look, guys, if you wanted to give away your money, I'm never going to tell you what to do with it. Good for you. But as far as the social stigma, up to and including delivery drivers and waiters and waitresses, I would be okay with paying, knowing that I'm going to pay 15 to 20% more on my food items, on my beers, whatever. So I don't have to go through the awkwardness of now, I don't know, do I tip my seamstress at the dry cleaners? I guess that burger was brought to me a little bit faster than I anticipated. Here you go, Mr. Five Guys guy. Like,
oh, so you're saying let's go with the rest of the world and,
yes.
And just like, hey, add in the extra money?
Yes, I'm okay with it. Let's go. Europe founded this whole bullshit and they got away with it. And we're always trying to emulate Denmark and all that bullshit. Right?
So you'd rather just straight price, no tipping?
Yep. I would be more than okay with that.
In that case, I would imagine the server makes less money.
Well, here's where I'm at. And this is a different conversation. I'm not trying to offend anyone. But do they really? I mean, there are some servers and bartenders that are making 6 figures.
Oh, yeah. Bartenders, for sure. I didn't know how much they made.
Holy shit.
They're making 20% more than the median on average.
We're not talking about just the average Olive Garden bartender here. We're talking about some certain bars. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
I saw that. I looked it up with an average bartender made. I was like, oh,
it was really difficult for me to like. All I could get was projections because of you people that enable tax evasion. It's very difficult to get that figure.
What do you mean enable tax evasion.
You borderline ask, hey, do you want me to pay you in a credit card where this can be traced, or crypto where it can't? Like,
I say cash.
whatever. Got these Doge coins. I burned in a hole in my pocket. So I would actually rather pay more than to go through this, because I honestly don't even know where I'm going to be hit up for a tip next.
So you were in Europe a couple years back.
Yep.
Tipping at all?
So we did not, because we read up on it. We heard it's actually offensive because it's now.
You guys went to a lot of countries. I'm sure some countries.
We went to like 10 different countries. Yeah.
Yeah, and so every one of them, no tip whatsoever.
I didn't tip a dime. It was my
Now,
heaven.
How about this? You didn't tip a dime. Did anybody else in your?
Not in my party. They didn't tip a dime.
Okay. Sorry, but you are known as a certain.
I am fiscally responsible. Yeah.
Frugal.
Any comment there?
Frugal. Anna, I told Anna about the milk story.
Oh yeah.
Last week.
Oh yeah.
She's like, that fucking cheap motherfucker. He won't even drink the same milk.
I won't.
Won't even drink the same milk.
I won't touch it.
I have the milk in my fridge. Anna went and bought it after the episode.
You're lying.
I got the milk that Brittany's drinking.
I gotta look.
I've been drinking it this week.
Well, I swear, man, this is way off topic, but I feel like Anna and Britt, they will go back and forth to see who can out hippie who that week.
I don't care.
I think it's funny now, like,
Yeah,
because they're serious.
I'm tapped out on all of it. I enjoy it because I think it does help, but
I know it helps, but
yeah.
it's funny to me. You should see the deodorant I'm using now.
I'm not even using deodorant. I think Anna thinks it's crazy. I don't use deodorant ever. And I actually was doing that before she even was all hippie-ish, all crunchy
really?
looking. Yeah, I've been using deodorant for probably 4 or 5 years. Isn't that crazy? Dude, so tipping. Let's wrap it up.
So yeah, in my perfect world, we abolish tipping. I think it's absolutely ludicrous.
Zero tipping.
Zero tipping.
Oh, no.
Now, if you want to gift money, cool.
That's a tip, though.
No. I'm talking about the social stigma. Hey, business owners, pay your guys what they're worth. What they're worth. That's all I ask. Because these $100,000 a year bartenders, they're doing shows basically behind the bar, so they're worth more. They're contributing to the overhead, the experience. So you're going to pay a premium for that drink. But what I'm saying, pay the person what they're worth, and let me pay the premium that you charge.
It's kind of like a commission, consumer driven though, if you think about it.
No, it's not. It's not, because the comp plan has been set by society.
No, I give more or less depending on the service.
Really? Because what about the story that, yes, it was by a listener that this topic got bullied up, but what got this on the list is that dinner that you had, to where the minimum was 20%. So the comp plan, the commission plan, I'm sorry, was literally like, because you are viewed as a frugal, a cheap ass, whatever. If you go below 15%, who are you? If you can't afford to go out, you shouldn't. If you can't even at least do 20%, that's kind of comments right now.
I would love to hear from our listeners. I do that.
What?
I go below 20% every time. I don't think a minute past it. I give it. I'm like, well, hopefully they just learned a lesson, and they're probably going to make more money if they take it and internalize it. Right?
Yeah, but they don't equate their performance to your tip. They literally equate, oh, he's just cheap. Because the standard is a minimum of 20. Anyone that's ever worked in a tip job, they go broke trying to pay it backwards.
I don't know. Have you ever talked to a bartender? And I think the bartenders right now that probably make the most money, I would imagine, is probably a very attractive female.
Yep.
Okay. And I bet you there's some attractive guys out there make a lot of money too, because they seem to be on top of it.
Yep.
Right? They seem to just kind of have a little flair with their drink making, and people will really get excited with that. Attractive females is more of a physical, like guys are stupid and they're just gonna give more money.
I'm not touching that one.
Oh, that guys are stupid?
I'm not commenting.
Okay. Well, guys are dumb. There's probably a reason that OnlyFans has 99% male subscribers because guys are stupid and they're always giving money.
Is that really the metrics?
Uh-huh. Because guys are dumb.
Are you serious? It's 99?
Yeah. Yeah, the subscribers that are subscribing to profiles on OnlyFans.
That's
so
funny.
Again, men are dumb. Like they don't need much to provide additional funds. So again, bartenders, easy one. You're an attractive female, maybe you're showing additional skin or whatever it is, you're going to be making more tips, right? Guys, they have to fucking throw a bottle 18 feet in the air.
So they can't show their belly button?
They don't, no one cares.
Our little happy trail doesn't
But guess
work.
what? I see them breathe some fire from some Everclear. I'm like, damn, this guy's getting $20, right? Like that took some balls to do it, right? In the middle of like a...
He's fucked up a couple times.
Yeah, exactly. So there's just two different levels that you have to do it. But I would imagine some of the top bartenders out there, they're going to get fucked underneath your plan.
Mm-hmm. But
like they're going to get that minimum wage, $12, whatever it is in their state. So they're like, dude, I'm making $28 an hour.
If not more. So would you say that, I'm sorry to use your words, that bars are getting fancier?
Yeah.
So would you say that people kind of want people to be funneled into these fancy bars to pay for the extra furniture and the lighting and the decor and all that shit? So would you say that maybe that bartender is going to garner a $28 to $30 an hour job, like on my dime now as a business owner, and knowing that I'm going to charge $12, $15 an hour for my beers? Let the market dictate.
I know, but I
Or, hey, actually, that's cool, but it actually doesn't move the needle at all from a business standpoint. So that skill dies. Just like pulling the elevator lever, skill dies. I don't know why you're being so soft with this.
I'm not being soft. I see.
Why are you letting this social guilt keep people overinflated in salary?
It's funny. You say the social guilt thing. I have no problem giving somebody $0.
You look a person in the eye and click no tip on that little iPad. Easily? Oh, man. It's literally my personal hell.
Oh, maybe,
It's uncomfortable to look someone in the eyes.
my wife calls me a psychopath all the time. Maybe that's what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, that's weird.
oh, really?
Yeah. You did a lot of research. You know that's weird.
I know it is weird. I see no problem with it. I think it's kind of weird. Okay, maybe I'm on the opposite. I think it's weird that people get upset about it. So you don't like the pressure that those systems put on you. That's what you're saying? Okay, so when you go to a grocery store,
Yep.
certain times of the year, would you like to round up?
Yep. Every single time.
Is that uncomfortable?
Every single time.
Is it uncomfortable?
No, I actually like it.
Me too.
Because it's going to like a charity.
Yeah, and you don't even know if that charity's good or not, but it's
No idea.
It's like 62
But see,
cents.
that's not my burden here. Like you tell me it's going to feed the hungry kids. What you do with my 62 cents is your business. You told me it's going to those hungry kids. I have no reason not to believe you. But I just get annoyed about paying someone's overhead in addition to their product. That's what I get pissed about.
I'm trying to find a creative solution here because it's funny because I'm not arguing for tipping.
I know.
I'm arguing for tipping a lot of money when you want to. Now, how about this? Let's ditch the tipping portion where we are because I feel like we're not getting to middle ground.
No.
Let's change it. Let's just say, hey, you know what, guys? King for a day. If you want to get a tip, it actually has to be collected prior to payment. Prior to payment of goods. Right? Not post payment of goods. So like what the myth or whatever it is, how it started. I walk up. I know you don't carry cash, but let's just say you hit a little button that says 15%. Cool. Thank you. And by the way, your coffee's going to be, $8. I hit the $25 thing. Or sorry, 25% one. Yeah, your coffee's $8, and all of a sudden it's getting served in my hand right away. What if the tipping changed how fast or how good the product was?
That's different.
I'm saying, let's just say that's how we change this. 'Cause I don't think you're going to get rid of tipping.
So here's where I'm going to get pissed, though. Let's say I hit 25%, and I still wait 5 minutes for my coffee.
You're not going to do it again, right? So the goal there is that just like when you go to a bar and you've given a high tip for your first drink, you've done that multiple times because why?
It's worked.
It's worked. So if you go to the same coffee shop multiple times and the first time they burn you, second time they burn you, you're like, screw you. I'm not an idiot. I'm not doing that again. They learn real quick and they're like, okay, we keep on doing this. We're not going to get our 25 tips anymore. But if we do give them expedited service, like a bar does, I think that's the best way for people to make money. They can make more money. All right.
So
you have a problem with that?
So I don't. I don't.
And it's still optional.
Yeah. So I don't. You know what's really interesting is, the whole fault thing. And I'm sure either you've said it, I know I have, or someone in your party I know has said it.
Fault.
Whenever the food sucks, the steak was cooked poorly, the food took a long time. Well, don't fault the waiter or the waitress because that's not fair. It wasn't their fault. 20%. But then you had actually said earlier on in this podcast, like, if that pizza delivery boy is hustling, you'll kick him an extra 5. Oh. So it's funny that they get the credit when it's really good, but they never get the blame.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where I'm a little conflicted. Are they getting undeserved credit? Let's say your coffee comes within 15 seconds. You can tip $100 or 100 cents.
So I think the coffee people, they're probably doing both, right? I don't know, actually. I've never worked at a coffee shop, but I feel like they kind of make coffees and take orders at the same time. The cook and the service thing, though, or the cook and the waitress thing is interesting because the waitress is never cooking the food.
Zero times. So if I understand your line in the sand, it's essentially, hey, if you want to pay for expedited service,
I'm in.
Across every single industry?
Everything. If I walk into a Chipotle and there's a line for throw a little extra tip in there, I'm in that line 1 out of 10 times. I'm not always doing it.
Yeah, you're in a rush. So let's say you go to get a massage.
Same thing.
What do you tip for? You already have an appointment.
Yeah. I have an appointment. Best massage person, I get them.
Okay.
Right? So whoever is the best, right, by whatever metric that they have, I get them. I give that money, and they're like, dude, you get
whatever.
Whoever it is.
Okay. Haircut.
So
these are all normal places to tip, right?
I tip pretty well for my barber.
Okay.
That's funny. I was in Maryland. I didn't even know these places existed. So, weird question here.
You about to ask me about my barber?
When you did have a barber.
Way back when.
White guy, Mexican guy, Ukrainian guy, Russian guy. Who was it? Do you remember at all?
I never went with the same guy.
Okay.
Yep.
So I get into a trend of a certain guy. And here in Phoenix, Arizona, Mexican barber, right? They know how to cut my hair.
Where do you go?
I'm pretty Mexican, right? It goes Gentleman Joe's, right? I go there every 2 weeks.
Oh, is that over by the office?
Kind of. It's by your office.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Gentleman Joe's. Great spot. They got 6 guys there. They know what they're doing. I got some pretty thick hair. I'm partly Mexican, and so I got some thick, dark hair. They are all Mexican there. They know how to cut my hair. Funny enough. So I go there often. I go to DC. I'm like, fuck, my hair is long, dude. I land there. I'm like, I got to get a haircut. I look like shabby, right? So I'm in DC. I look up barbershops. I was like, fuck, yeah, this one looks great. I'm like looking at reviews, 4.2. I'm driving around. Cool. I show up and I'm like, oh, shit. You know, they're not Mexican guys there. It's all Korean guys. It's all Korean guys. They're all speaking Korean, right? I asked my barber, I'm like, dude, you guys from Korea? And he's like, oh, yeah, we're a Korean barbershop. That's what they said. Korean barbershop. I was like, fuck, dude, do you guys know how to cut like my type of hair? So they gave me this haircut. My wife goes, like, that's the best haircut you've ever gotten. It's weird because they did some weird shit that I've never seen my guys here do.
Looks good, I guess.
Looks fine.
I didn't notice a difference, honestly.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't notice that much of a difference.
Yeah.
But she said, it's weird, they thinned it all out. And if you look at a Korean guy's hair, if they go to a Korean barber, I imagine, compared to a Mexican barbershop, they kind of like thin it out and they kind of make it a little bit like more, like it stands more straight up. And my hair seems to be standing more straight up since I went to that barber last week. My hair doesn't stand straight up. It more like falls over. But it's funny because I went there. I gave him $5 for the haircut, $22 haircut. Give him $5. I normally give $5 for my barber. That's kind of like my thing. That's what is that? Fucking 30%, 20%, 25%?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, we're way off topic here. Let's close
So
this thing out.
so we're good with hair. What about Chipotle? What about for an extra line? What about Jimmy John's? They literally pride themselves on being freaky fast.
All the spots, like I mentioned earlier, all of the places
Ubers
that are saying, hey, we're going to do something in a consistent manner, no tip. I will not give them a tip, and I don't think they deserve a tip. If your business model is to provide a consistent product or experience, no, you don't get a tip. Disney, movie theaters. If I go see a movie at a movie theater, right? No food, no nothing. You're not going to fucking tip for a ticket. It's the exact same movie for you, me, my wife, my kids, everybody. It's the exact same experience, right? You're not doing anything different for me as an individual, right? So again, the experience has to different. It has to be different.
So the company has to pride themselves on differentiation.
Bingo.
When that is achieved, the people that provide said differentiation,
They can be tipped.
deserve a tip.
Exactly. If you're a coffee shop that is unique or different and prides themselves on kind of, hey, you know what? That macchiato or that latte is going to be a little different every time you come here. Tip them. Starbucks, are you trying to provide a consistent experience? No tip. You don't like that?
Nope, I like my way better. Fuck tips. I see your point. I can get there. If I'm forced to pick between this hellhole that we're in right now in your world, I'll live in that. But I want to get to my. I would pay more across the board for my goods and services than to not just get hit up by a tip with every fucking turn.
No,
Dude, like I think buying this 6-pack at the gas station, I had to be offered for a tip damn near. Like it's getting ridiculous.
Horseshit.
It's like, let me get straight. I walked in your store. I had to go to the beer fridge. I had to thumb through all the beers that I don't think I've had yet. I walked my happy ass to the counter. Would you like to add a tip? What? Are you joking me? Yes, I would love nothing more than to tip you for you picking up this very heavy 6-pack and dragging it across to say beep.
They didn't do that. They scanned it with a gun.
I mean,
okay, guys.
I'm done with it.
Really appreciate you guys all listening today. We're on different pages here on tipping.
Well, I think the roots of tipping are horrible, and I don't want to pay this tradition respect.
I don't like tipping, but I don't mind doing it for extra service. That's where I'm at, right? That's what I'm trying to say.
Do you think if you had less disposable income, you would think differently?
No, like if I, no, like I said,
Let's say you and Anna make $50,000 a year together.
Yeah.
You still think you feel the same?
Yeah, because I wouldn't go in the expedited line. I think the tipping thing should be like
So are people making $50,000 a year? Are they never late for work? Are they never in a hurry?
No, but yeah, they are. But I'm just saying, like everyone's gonna
fuck them, right? Because yeah, no, I get it.
I'm saying everyone's
your problems are more expensive. I get it.
Everyone's gonna be late for work, right? But some people might not be late for work if they're able to tip. That's what I'm trying to get to.
And those some people, yeah. You just want to have a little bit more class definition. This is my line. This is your guys' line. I mean, that's its roots, and that's what you're trying to drive towards. I get it. Oh
my God. Okay. I love it. I love it so much. Okay, guys, give us a listen on YouTube. Give us a listen on everywhere you find podcast. Send us in some feedback on these tips. All of you waitresses, bartenders.
Oh, let us have it.
Hotel,
let me have it at least. Let me have
just let us fucking have it. Like, rip us a new one, because every time I've had this conversation with somebody that's been in the service industry, they are vocal about this.
They're vulgar too. I know. It.
Let us know if we are missing something here, because we can change our minds.
Also, continue sending us, whether text in a organic conversation where it comes up. Keep sending us topics.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun.
Okay. Later, guys. Bye.